everybody. So for this episode, I'm gonna share some new perspectives and thinking about Buddhism. So the title is When Meditation Became Management. How Buddhism Became Power in China. Westerners often imagine Buddhism like this: a quiet room, a calm voice, a person breathing deeply while an app tells him he's doing amazing. Very peaceful and expensive if it comes with a retreat in California. But in China, Buddhism became much more than meditation. It became a way to handle death, a way to explain suffering, to help parents after they die, to transfer merit, to make guilt meaningful, to turn invisible pain into a ritual. In the West, Buddhism often became the therapy for the living. In China, Buddhism became something deeper and stranger, the customer service department of this. And once a religion can manage this, grief, karma, ancestors, guilt, and hope, it's no longer just spirituality, it's power. Not inner peace, unfinished business. So your version of Buddhism begin with stress. I'm anxious. I need peace. I need mindfulness. I need to stop checking my phone every 7 seconds like a raccoon with Wi-Fi. But traditional Buddhism often met people somewhere else. No, not stress, but grief. Not self-care, but this. Not how do I feel calmer, but where did my mother go after this? Can I help her? Can merit be transferred? Transferred. Why do good people suffer? Why do bad people survive? Is pain random? Is the universe keeping score? This is where Buddhism became powerful. Because Confucianism could tell you how to honor your parents while they lived, but Buddhism could tell you what to do after they die. Confucianism gave the dead a place in the family, Buddhism gave the dead a journey. It's a huge difference. A grieving person doesn't only need etiquette, a grieving person needs a map. The problem Buddhism had to solve: family. It's the gray area. Buddhism originally has a dangerous message for a family-centered civilization. Leave home, leave attachment, leave worldly desire, leave ordinary family life. Become a man, become a monk, shave your head. Don't continue the family line. So to a Confucian world, this sounds less like enlightenment and more like a family emergency. But Buddhism nurtured to serve the family. It did not only say leave your parents for enlightenment, but through Buddhist ritual, you can help your parents beyond this. You can save your mother, assist your ancestor, generate merit for the dead. It's real cultural transformation. Buddhism survived in China when the religion of living home nurtured to serve home. Filial piety rewritten. So Buddhism entered the Chinese heart not by defeating family duty, but by extending it beyond the grave. Going to a temple is not just private spirituality. It can become an act of love. Chanting not just religious song. It can become care for the dead. Giving to monks is not just donation. It can become mirror for your family. So Buddhism can deepen filial piety. You're not abandoning your mother. You're serving her in a role Confucianism can't fully reach. That's powerful. It turned Buddhist practice into family responsibility. So let's talk about karma. Karma gave Chinese society a powerful moral imagination. The universe is not random. Actions matter. Cruelty leaves traces. Goodness accumulates. Suffering has causes. This is not the end of the story. This can comfort people. Because if the world looks unfair, karma say, wait, the visible world is not the whole account. It's a deeper ledger. The corrupt may escape the court, but not the universe. That's emotionally powerful. Karma has a shadow. If suffering always has a spiritual cause, people may start explaining injustice too easily. Why are you poor? Maybe karma. Why are you sick? Maybe fate. Why are you suffering? Maybe you're paying a debt. Why resist? Maybe this is your lesson. This is where a comforting system can become dangerous. It can turn social pain into cosmic paperwork. Karma can comfort suffering, but it can also give injustice a spiritual alibi. It's not only Buddhist or Chinese, also the West. Everything happens for a reason. God has a plan. You attracted this energy. Just manifest better. Work harder and universe will reward you. Different vocabulary, same danger. A society can spiritualize pain so deeply that nobody had to fix the condition that produced it. Another powerful idea is merit. Merit makes invisible morality transferable. You can do good, you can donate, you can sponsor rituals, you can chant, you can dedicate the merit to someone else, especially the dead. It's emotionally genius. The grief often feels hopeless. Someone died and you want to do something. What can you do? Buddhism gave action. You can perform ritual, you can give, you can pray, you can dedicate, you can help. Even if the person is gone, love still has a form. That's why Mary is so powerful. It gave grief a task. Mary turned grief into action. But there's danger. Once mirror becomes something you can accumulate, display, sponsor, and transfer, spiritual life can start to look like an economy. The invisible world gets receipts. The afterlife gets accounting. Human beings love accounting. Even heaven apparently needs bookkeeping. Merit is where love, guilt, and accounting meet. It's funny because but explain why Buddhism became socially powerful. It did not only teach people what to believe, it gave them things to do with fear, guilt, grief, and hope. Why empire could use Buddhism? This is political question. Not only because emperor like religion, not only because temples had influence. The deeper reason is that Buddhism offered transcendence without always placing a single jealous god above the emperor. It's a major cross-cultural difference. In Christianity and Islam, one of the most powerful ideas is that God stands above king. A ruler may have armies, but God is higher. Divine law can judge the ruler. Conscience can answer to God before it answers to the state. That can become politically explosive. But Buddhism in China often works differently. It offers karma, rebirth, merit, compassion, ritual, monks, secret authority, and cosmic imagination. But it didn't necessarily install one supreme creator god who could say to the emperor, "No, I outrank you." That made Buddhism easier to absorb. It could secularize the world without always directly threatening the top of the political hierarchy. Buddhism gave the empire transcendence without a jealous god. That doesn't mean Buddhism was always obedient. Monks lived in family could challenge Confucian norms. Buddhist institution can become independent. The idea could criticize worldly attachment, but the tradition was flexible enough to be used, and power loves useful spirituality. Asceticism, the body as proof. Buddhism carried a special kind of authority, renunciation. Monks shave their head, live family life, wear robes, practice discipline, away ordinary pleasure. That creates spiritual credibility. Because human beings instinctively think, if this person can control desire, maybe this person knows something I don't. The body becomes evidence. The body says, I'm not like ordinary people. I'm not owned by appetite. I have stepped outside normal life. This exists across cultures. Christian monks, Indian ascetics, Stoic philosophers. Modern wellness influencers wake up at 4 a.m. to take a shower and drink something green that tastes like punishment. Human beings admire people who seem to have defeated the body. Asceticism. Asceticism is spiritual branding. The body becomes an advertisement of holiness. That's why Buddhist discipline matter. It made holiness visible through lifestyle. And once holiness is visible, people trust it, fear it, and support it, and organize around it. That's power. Um, Here's a cross-cultural twist. Westerner should not think this is only Asian Chinese story. Modern Western society has also turned Buddhism into management. Corporate mindfulness, meditation for productivity, breathing exercises so worker can return to the same stressful office with a slightly calmer nervous system. The message is often don't change your structure, change your relationship to the structure. Breathe, accept, let it go. Return to your spreadsheet. This is the modern version of sin danger. A path of liberation can become a tool of adjustment. A teaching about suffering can become a technique for tolerating suffering. When spirituality helps people endure a broken system without questioning, spirituality has changed sides. The question is, what happens when a religion of liberation becomes useful to the world it was supposed to transcend? Buddhism became useful in China because it was useful. Useful to individuals facing pain, to family facing death, to society needing moral explanation, to rulers seeking sacred atmosphere, to people who needed top when ordinary ethics ran out. Confucianism tell you how to be a good son. Buddhism tell you how to save your mother after death. Confucianism tell you how to behave in society. Buddhism tell you how society itself is full of suffering. Confucianism could give the dead a neem tablet. Buddhism could give the dead a road. This is why Buddhism matter. Not because everyone wanted to see calmly and breathe, but because everyone eventually meets death. Everybody eventually meets guilt and asks, why did this happen? Can I still help? Is anyone keeping score? Will love survive the grave? Buddhism had answer, and any system that answers this question will never remain merely private. It becomes cultural, ritual, authority, power. So, Buddhism in China was not just meditation, it was grave management, death management, guilt, family, meaning management, and sometimes political management. It's not an insult to Buddhism, it's a reason why it matters. A religion becomes powerful not only when it is true, it becomes powerful when it becomes necessary. In China, Buddhism became necessary because it touched the places where Confucian duties could not fully reach. The grave, afterlife, invisible debate, the suffering nobody could explain. Every useful religion faces a danger. The more useful it becomes, the more the world tries to use it. Liberation becomes ritual, compassion becomes institution, karma becomes explanation, merit becomes accounting, meditation becomes management. When a path designed to free human beings becomes too useful to family, institutions, and empires, does it still free them? Or does it teach them how to suffer more meaningfully inside the same cage? Buddhism did not conquer China. China made Buddhism useful, and usefulness is one of the deepest forms of power. That's for this episode. I hope it could give you inspirations or some new thinkings, or it make you rethink about your stereotype towards Buddhism, and now you know the manifestation of Buddhism back in Asian China and even nowadays. I hope you like my content, and I I'd be more than willing to make more interesting and meaningful content for you. Thanks for listening.